Well, hey there, my friends, and welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm your host, Wendy Batten. I'm super happy to have you here with me today. If this is the first time you are listening to our podcast, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. If you are listening from New Zealand, where I just met a boatload of wonderful retailers all over the entire North and South Island. Welcome. Thank you for listening. If you are a regular listener, welcome back. I am back at my desk in Nova Scotia, Canada, and I am happy to be here, but I had a wonderful time traveling all over New Zealand, meeting so many retailers. My friends, I had the opportunity to chat with so many. At last count, I think I was up to 150 independent stores that I was able to pop into, and we traveled a lot. I was gone for 6 weeks. It was so cool. So it was great. And I actually have a recap episode coming up talking about similarities, differences, and what I see happening in this wonderful retail world landscape right now and what's happening in the world. But today I am going to share a little bit of what my podcast editor told me sounded like a tough love episode. And I kind of laughed because I said, well, it's not really a tough love episode, but that's what my podcast editor thought it sounded like. So you can take this as you will, but here's what I wanted to talk about since I've been home. And I have had a lot of client meetings and a lot of group meetings. And I was working while I was in New Zealand, but I've really had a lot of meetings over the last few weeks, one-on-one client meetings, in-person meetings, group meetings. I've been to a few association meetings. And here's what I know to be true. We have never been promised that self-employed life would be super easy. It's like I don't know where that's written. I don't know where that is written anywhere. I am on my third decade of being self-employed, which makes me feel really old, but maybe that makes me wise. I don't know. But I'm on my third decade of running independent businesses. And I will tell you, the road is always paved with challenges. It's just the way it is. So today on the podcast, I'm going to be sharing a few things that I wanted to bring up. I've been thinking about for a while, sort of compounding from what I've been listening to retailers saying, what I'm seeing out in the wild, and the difference between the positive mindset and the negative mindset at retailers. And let's just talk a little bit about that today. So today's episode is going to be about showing up even when it's messy and really defining what success is for you and on your terms. And we're going to talk about why complaining does not grow your business, my friend, but courage and being courageous and taking action is what will. So let's jump into the episode. Running a retail business doesn't have to be so hard. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast, the go-to podcast for creative shop owners, studio owners, and independent retailers. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, retail business coach and mentor. Each week, I'll share simple, proven business strategies, inspiring stories from fellow retailers, and advice from industry experts. Together, we're going to work to find the success you want from your retail business with more profits in your till and a little more joy in your life. Okay, the first thing I wanted to talk about is the myth of effortless success. That sounds like a mouthful, but this instinctively, you're listening to me here, you're action taker, you are forward thinking. If you are listening to podcaster, if you're listening to podcasts about retail, you are already in a growth mindset. And I think that a lot of people, not just retailers, I think a lot of people think that success is a recipe. Do these 12 things and do them this way and you will have success. That's not the way it works. So, you follow these steps and you get results, and we all know that that's not how it works. How it works is a series of trials and errors. And, it is always doing things that work and doing things that don't work. And there are foundational things. I teach those things every day. There's all kinds of foundational things. But really, when it comes right down to it, I think we all instinctively need to know and be A-okay with the fact that success has bumps and lumps and there's a messy middle. And I like to tell people, and this is going to sound funny, but I like to tell people we're kind of always in that messy middle, because there's always things that we've done well and didn't work out and we've learned from. There's all kinds of things we've done in the past that have worked well and we're, doing okay with those parts of it. And now we find ourselves in this era and then in this middle part, and there's all kinds of things ahead of us. And it's just, self-employed life is just a series of challenges, and which actually brings me to the next part is, you need to remember that you're never behind. You're just in the middle, and this is just life. There is no recipe. There is frameworks and there is best practice. There are best practices. There are good ways to speak as well too. But it's important to remember there's no recipe for success, and you're doing an amazing job. Literally just listening to this you're telling yourself, you're telling me that you are taking steps and grabbing the bull by the horn and going to make a success of your business. So be of the mindset that we're always learning and there is no recipe, and we're just going to keep moving forward in the best possible way that we can for ourselves, our business, and our community. So that's what I want to talk about around that. But we do also really need to remember, as we're moving through and as we're running these retail businesses, that our job, your job, the person who's listening to this right now, your job, don't look to the left, don't look to the right, don't look behind you. Your job is to expect challenges in your business. And I think if we realize that that's our job as the CEO, part of our job is to be able to pull through and untangle challenges, to pull through and untangle messes. It is not just to buy and sell pretty things. I think a lot of us think that's what we got into in our retail business when we opened our stores. I'm just going to sell pretty things. I'm going to serve people. And then that expands. Our role as CEO expands. So I think if we're just really clear on one of the things that we need to put down under our job responsibility, is that it is our job, it is going to be our self-employed CEO hat, is to be resilient and to understand that as part of our job. We are going to have challenges. Period. You're always going to have challenges. So I found this wonderful quote the other day, and I really love it because I want to share that these challenges that we're always facing, again, this is part of our role, is just making us stronger. It's just like anything. It's building a muscle, right? You're building muscle. It's like when you first start working out and you lift weights and you feel all flabby. Not that I'm taking that from personal experience, but you feel it's hard, right? It's hard to face the challenge of lifting these heavy weights, and then you lift more and more and more, and then it gets easier and easier. And then you go to a bigger challenge or a bigger weight. And anything, that's what our business is like as well too. We're building our resilience muscle. We're building our able to handle challenge muscle. The more things that get thrown at us, the easier it becomes. That is our job. That is part of being the owner of a self-employed business, of a retail business, of any independent business, if you're self-employed. So understanding that you're building these muscles every day, and we have been building muscles. We've been building muscles exponentially over the last few years. I know, if you were in business during COVID-19, and all of the muscles, we built a lot of muscles back then, didn't we, my friend? But if you are just building, or you're just starting, or you're just expanding, we are going to continue to build muscles. We can't rest. We keep building that resilience, and it's a good thing. I want you to flip your mindset about challenges being a crappy thing and oh gosh, and all that mood to, okay, this is what I get to do today. I get to solve this problem. And life is a series of problems, right? Or challenges. I don't like saying problems, but it's challenge. So I heard this quote the other day from Megan Miller, and I loved it. And it's the experience of resistance strengthens the architecture of our character enough to hold the weight of our success. I'm going to say it again because it took me a minute. The experience of resistance strengthens the architecture of our character enough to hold the weight of our success. So as we are building, as we are facing resistance to all the crap that's being thrown at us or all the challenges or all the things, we are building that character and the muscle that we need to just say, okay, fine, I'm going to handle this. It's okay. It's fine. I'm going to handle this. It's just the weight. And I think I just really want to emphasize that we need to stop fighting the hard stuff and start expecting it. Setbacks are going to happen. It's not failure. It's training, right? We're not always going to be good at it either. So every challenge builds your capacity. Every challenge that we hit, that we have, builds capacity. And this isn't me telling you doom and gloom. This is me telling you how it is. This is how it is. If you are just expecting everything to be like, again, back to a recipe and smooth sailing and everything's fine, that's not the way business works. But the way we look at it, the way we think about the challenges, the way we approach it, like, do we approach it like that? And here's another one. And that's not helping you. That's not helping your business. We just don't have time for that. That's not our job. So I want you to flip the script on how you handle challenges and be more resilient to them as you're building it. Think about the muscles you're building. Every time there's a challenge, you're like, all right, we're adding another weight to our muscle, our resistance, or our muscle building for our retail business. So on that note, the next thing I wanted to just bring to your attention, if maybe you have forgotten, that a lot of people, maybe this is not you, but we all tend to do this. I do it too. We all do it. We have a tendency to woe was me, maybe a little bit, or complain, or if you find yourself in a circle or a group or on Facebook or wherever you may be, and people are like, oh, the economy sucks and everything's awful. And we have maybe sometimes some of us have a tendency to, yeah, everything's awful. We cannot do that. That is back to this resilient muscle. Complaining will just keep you stuck. Complaining is just going to keep you stuck. It is a waste of time and energy. It is like as one of my clients, Jody, said the other day, we were talking and I had a meeting, one of my mastermind members, and she said, these people that are out there having pity party marketing. Pity marketing is the worst thing, in my opinion, that we can do. And that is, you better shop with us because, the economy or the weather or whatever. Stop it. If you're doing that, stop it right now. It is the worst type of marketing. It's the worst attitude you can have. Your customers don't like it. You want, it just, ick. Don't do that. So we were talking about how she has people in her community that are doing that, and it's just infuriating her. So shout out to you, Jody, for reminding me that pity marketing, is something we need to talk about and remind retailers not to go down that road. So complaining keeps you stuck. Ownership moves you forward. How can I control this situation? What can I do? I can turn the news off for a hot minute. When customers are coming in and they're yanking or complaining or whatever, we cannot engage in that conversation. Things are, you have to be positive. You can't dwell on that. So, we can internally have a moment of pity party and, okay, here we go again. But I want you to bring out that I've been building muscles for this. This is why we've been working out. This is why we are doing this. So complaining keeps us stuck. Ownership moves us forward. So ownership, by that, what I mean is, okay, what are we going to do? What action steps can I take? I can't control the economy. I can't control the stupid algorithms. I can't control the weather, but I can control my mindset, my effort, my habits, my perspective on things. I want to remind you of that. You can control those things. So ask yourself, what can you do today to move closer to the life and the business and the solutions that you want? And then go do that. Take control of, your data, and take control of your finances, and like, what can we control? Control the controllables is something that my clients hear me say all the time. Control the controllables. So turn that news off. Get back, reset your frame of mind and your perspective, and remember that complaining just keeps you stuck. Ownership moves you forward. I feel like I'm going to say that a lot coming up. So, it's also action over avoidance as well, right? I want to remind you of that. So a lot of conversations I have had with retailers, there's always something. I mean, we know there's always something, like employees. I mean, whatever it is, right? There's always something. There's just, delays in deliveries. There's always something that we could let just ruin our day or ruin our mindset or ruin our things. So we're not going to do that anymore. We are going to flip the script on that, and we're going to ask ourselves, what action can I take ownership on to move this forward and to just keep controlling the controllables. So the last thing I just wanted to mention a little bit here today in my Tough Love, apparently, podcast. Again, that's what my podcast editor said, as Tough Love podcast. But I want to reflect on the fact that we get to choose what success looks like for our business. So when I work with inside my Retailers Inner Circle, or with my mastermind groups, or with my private clients, we define what success looks like for us in our business. So is success working, 40 hours a week, or 100 hours a week, or 27,000 hours a week? And what does success look like? How much profit do you need to make? What are your profit centers? What does the business do for you, and how does it show up in your business, and how is it supporting your life? And what does success look like for your team? And what does success look like? You get to define that. If you have not defined that and what success looks like, this is the time to be really understanding what it is you want from your business, how many hours you want to work. We know in the programs that I run exactly how many hours I want to work this year in my business, or this month, or this quarter, whatever we're working through. Exactly how much money do I want to make? Exactly, what kind of energy do I want to have? How much, what does the rest of my life look like? We need to make sure that this beautiful business that you are building is built for you. This is what we call a life first retail business. And this is, you get to decide that. You don't have to just take what's coming at you. So success and a profitable financial, business, if your family is not successful, or if you're never home, is not necessarily success, if that's not what you want, or at the cost of your health, or, if you are running around with your head cut off like some retailers tend to do, and it's not necessary. So really defining what success looks like for you. And I want to invite you to make sure that you know that, what that looks like for you in all areas of your life. So I hope you're building that. And I hope you're not building somebody else's version of that. And what I mean by that is, we don't want to be looking at Susie down the road and saying, well, that's the kind of business I want, because we don't know what's going on in Susie's life in the background, or how messy it might be. So make sure we are being super clear, taking action, looking at our own things, and behind and underneath our underneath our own CEO desk, right? Like, what's going on in your own back room? What's going on in your life? And what do you need from it? Everybody has a different idea of success. I get the privilege and the pleasure of working with, like, one-on-one. I get to look at all kinds of people's back rooms and back offices, and their CEO stuff, and their data, and their money situation, or their inventory, or I get a sneak peek into a lot of people's lives, those who want me to. It's not everybody that I work with, but everybody's idea of success is different. Some people are building to expand and have an empire and 25 stores, and some people are like just really wanting to have a really thorough, amazing business in their town that supports their life, and they want to build a team and supports their team's life. And so I just want to encourage you to make sure that you know that you get to define what success looks like. And that's like really the best part. It's also the scariest part. If I'm being honest, sometimes it is yours to shape. It is yours to shape. So I hope that's helpful. So I just want to encourage you again, just to recap some of the things I want you to take away from this episode is expect resistance and problems. It's just part of your job. Just expect it, embrace it, be part, own it. It's just, here's what we're doing. This is self-employed life. This is retail life. So start building the resilience to that. I also want to remind you to stop complaining. Start creating, start being smart. Smart about solution mindset. Just stop complaining. Complaining is not serving you. Control what you can control. Control the controllables, as we say. Don't quit when it gets hard. Don't quit when it gets hard, because it's going to get hard. It's always hard. This hard happens. And we just, expect it. Expect that it's going to be challenging. And I think there's just a whole perspective and a shift there. So, and remember to define success your way. So I hope that this has been helpful. You are building something beautiful in your community, for your family, for yourself. So please remember to stay in the game. It is worth it. And make sure that you are remembering to, take action when you need to. Take action, do the things you need to do, and have that mindset and this perspective around this. So I hope this has been helpful to you. There's so many wonderful things happening in retail. Again, had the privilege and pleasure of seeing so many amazing things. And I feel sometimes like the negative things and the hard things are amplified. So I want you to remember, if to amplify your voice, the good that you are doing in the world and the good things in your business. And I hope that resonates in a way that you know that there's a lot of amazing things happening out there, and keep knowing as well too that, when the negative things hit, you are smart and capable, and we can figure all of these things out once we take ownership of the back room, all of your CEO responsibilities. And then, of course, we still get to buy and sell all the pretty things, the front of the house things as well too. So thank you so much for listening here today. Next week, I think it's next week, we have an episode sharing some of the takeaways of my experience traveling around meeting retailers in New Zealand. So that was fabulous. And I can't wait to share some of those things with you. And I want to encourage you, to take a couple moments and go wherever you are listening to this podcast and kindly leave us a review for the show. 5 stars if you can, but I don't want to tell you what to do, but I would really appreciate it. The reason that I'm asking for this is because it just helps us get the show in front of more people who need to be exposed to different ideas in retail. And we just want to have that ripple effect. And, your help would really help. Your help by leaving a review would be really appreciated by all of us here at the Creative Shop Talk podcast, and me, of course. So thank you so much. We will see you next week here, same time, same place. Thank you for listening, my friend. You are doing an amazing job. Keep on doing it. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so glad that you are here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.